when that was made as an order of this court?
The service plan was made an order of the court prior to the status hearing, January of 2020.
Okay. And how has the mother done on her service plan?
The mother has not completed any services on the service plan and has lacked to engage with the department.
Okay. And where has she been for a majority of this case?
The majority of the case, she was in Bastrop County Jail.
Okay, and do you know why?
She was in Bastrop County Jail on a drug charge.
And did the department make reasonable accommodations to provide services while she was incarcerated?
Yes, we submitted 2054s for a service provider to go into the jail to provide protective parenting and individual counseling, and that was set up in April, but she was released sometime in May of 2020.
And since her release, has she contacted the department to engage in services?
She has contacted the department, but she has not contacted the department to engage in services.
Okay. And
the department has a.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The department has tried to reach out to Miss Blocker, though.
Okay. And do you know if she is visiting with the children?
The last time that she visited with the children was July 15th of 2020 in Temple, Texas.
Okay. And have you requested that Ms. Blocker submit to random drug testing?
I did. Yes, sir.
And did she go to the drug testing?
No, she did not.
Regarding Mr. Haynes, I have similar questions. How is he doing on his service plan?
Mr. Haynes has not completed any part of his service plan.
And did the department did the department receive any accommodation request from Mr. Haynes?
So Mr. Haynes stated that he was a truck driver, that he would work 12-hour shifts as a truck driver. Sometimes he would state he would drive 15 to 16 hours in a day. And he did not tell the department that he could not complete any part of his service plan due to his work, because all services that the department provided for Mr. Haynes were virtually.
Okay. And was he asked to go drug test?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And has he gone to drug test?
Yes, sir, he has.
Okay. And what were the results of his drug tests?
So there were several drug tests that were requested.
I'm going to object to hearsay.
Mr. Miss
Offered on the test.
Your Honor, I'm offering it regarding compliance with the service plan.
Okay. So the question for going to take the test would or not would be in compliance with the service plan, but someone testifying about the results isn't necessarily. So I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Isn't it true that on July 7th of 2020, Mr. Haynes tested positive on his drug test?
Yes.
And did Mr. Haynes?
Hold on. She was it was cutting in and out, but she was trying to object. Ms. Scott.
Unless she has some,
well, rather than the explanation, can you just make just what's your objection based on? We've lost her. Ms. Scott?
Hearsay.
Okay, that objection is
You not
sustained.
hear me?
Yes, now I did. Yes, that objection sustained.
Well,
Your Honor, I'm gonna try my phone. I'm gonna get off right quick and come in by telephone.
Okay. Okay, we'll pause.
My computer keeps dishing off.
Okay, we'll pause for a moment.
Your Honor, if I may, do you want me to pause?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Ms. Scott, are you on now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Mr. Nissenblatt, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, regarding this specific test, the department has filed on September 10th of 2020, this particular test with the business record affidavit for the hearsay exception.
Okay. Let me get to that.
And there's been no yes, Your Honor, there's been no objection or any responsive pleading challenging the business record affidavit. It's been on file more than 14 days.
Okay, hold on. Let me just get to that. I wasn't aware of that. And so that would, if that's on file and verifiable, then that would be correct. So let me just, I'm sorry. On what date, Mr. Nissenblatt?
Filing date 9/10/2020.
Okay, that is correct. And so therefore the objections are now overruled and that those statements are admissible.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Carnahan, do you believe it would be safe to return these children to the parents at this time?
No,
Sorry. Did Mr. Haynes, did you request that Mr. Haynes submit to a drug test in January of 2021?
yes, sir.
Did he go?
He was requested to go. He did not go, and he did not respond to the request.
And what about in November of 2020?
Yes, he was requested to go.
And did he go?
He didn't go. However, he did text me and state that he would go as soon as he got off work.
Okay. And did he ever go?
No,
And was he and where is Brian Haynes, the child, currently placed?
so Brian Haynes is currently in place with an approved ICPC in Santa Fe, New Mexico with Mr. Malcolm Morgan.
Okay. And what's the permanency plan if the court were to grant the department's request to terminate the parental rights?
For Malcolm to adopt Brian.
And how is he doing in this placement?
Brian is doing great. The ICPC was approved in December. So I flew him up there. He engaged in school. He's engaged in a therapist. He's passing all of his classes for the first time in years. He's made friends. He is willing to go to therapy, which was something that we could not get him to do in an RTC. And he is doing very well.
And do you believe that this placement will meet his current and future emotional and physical needs?
Absolutely.
And has he stated any desires of what he'd like to you?
Brian has stated that he wants to be adopted, that he does not want to go back home.
And how about the children, Jordan Haynes and Sky Haynes? Where are they currently placed?
So Sky and Jordan are in the same placement with Mr. and Mrs. Petty in Lorena, Texas.
Okay. And how are they doing in this placement?
Sky is doing well. She's a straight A student. She just tried out for the cheerleading squad yesterday. She's made several friends. And I just seen Sky about a week ago. She states to me that she wants to be adopted by Mr. and Mrs. Petty. She feels safe. She will continue to pray for her parents, but she does not feel that her parents can take care of her.
Okay. And how about Jordan?
So Jordan is 5. He has not directly told me that he wants to be adopted, but he has stated that he is safe in his current placement and he loves it there.
Okay. And what is the permanency plan for Jordan and Sky should the court grant the department's request to terminate the parental rights?
Mr. and Mrs. Petty want to adopt them.
And so these siblings can stay together?
Yes, sir.
And how are the siblings communicating with each other or visiting with each other?
So they've had several FaceTime phone calls for visits. They've also seen each other for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, and for Halloween.
And the child, Brian Haynes, did he just have a birthday?
He did in December.
Okay. And did the parents reach out to him on his birthday?
No.
Pass this witness.
Ms. Scott, do you have any questions for this witness?
I do, just a couple of questions. Ms. Carnahan, when did you become the worker on this case?
Yes, ma'am. I became the caseworker on this case. It was April of 2020.
And at any time was Robin Williams the worker on this case?
Robin Williams was the caseworker before me. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ever go out and look at Mr. Haynes' residence?
So I requested Mr. Haynes to submit to the department where he was living.
I'm going to object to non-responsive.
Overruled. You may answer the question.
I requested for Mr. Haynes to give me his address and or lease, and he never provided that to the department.
Did you ever determine whether or not he was employed?
I requested paycheck stubs. Mr. Haynes did not provide paycheck stubs.
Did he provide any paycheck stubs to Robin Williams?
Not to my knowledge. No, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Carter, do you have any questions?
Just a couple, Your Honor. Ms. Carnahan, what concerns do you have for the kids should the parental rights not be terminated today?
Drug use. There's been a consistent pattern of drug use by Ms. Blocker, and there's been a consistent drug pattern by Mr. Haynes. We have offered service plans. We have offered OSAR assessments, and the lack of engagement is very concerning. These children would go back into an environment where we would not know if they would be safe.
Do you have any concerns right now with the Petty family as far as their ability to care for Jordan and Sky?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Do you have any concerns with Mr. Morgan Petty's ability to appropriately care for Brian III?
Absolutely not.
Is it in these children's best interest that the parental rights be terminated and that the placements eventually be allowed to adopt these kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Pass this witness, Judge.
Mr. Nisenblatt, any further questions?
I guess for placement, Mr. Morgan Petty.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Morgan Petty, will you please state the name of the child that is currently placed with you?
Brian Kenneth Haynes III.
Okay. And if you heard the testimony today from the department regarding its permanency plan,
Yes, sir, I have.
and are you in agreement with that plan?
Yes, sir, 100%.
And it's our understanding and I guess representation of the court that we're hoping that if the court were to grant the request for termination, that you would be an adoptive kind of forever home for this child. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Pass this witness.
Ms. Scott, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Carter, do you have any questions?
I do not, Your Honor.
Next witness?
I guess Mr. Petty or Dr. Petty.
Okay.
And will you please state to the court the children in your care?
It's Sky Nicole Haynes and Jordan Dane Haynes.
And have you heard the testimony of the departments regarding the permanency plan is for you to be the adoptive placement for Jordan and Sky?
Yes, sir, I have.
And is that your intention, is to be a forever home for these children?
Yes, absolutely.
Pass this witness.
Ms. Scott, do you have any questions for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Carter, do you have any questions for this witness?
I do not, Your Honor.
Do you have another witness to call, Mr. Nisenblatt?
No, Your Honor. If I can reserve questions for after Costa's report.
Okay. Ms. Scott, do you have any testimony to present?
No, I just have a statement from Mr. Haynes, and I'd like to do that later.
Okay, Ms.
Your Honor, oh, excuse me. I would object to any reading of a statement, as that would be a narrative and also hearsay.
Okay, first of all, it hadn't been offered yet, so that would be premature. Ms. Carter, do you have any testimony to present?
I do not, Your Honor.
Casa? Who is going to represent Casa? Oh, okay. there
Yes,
you-
Your Honor.
Okay,
Bonnie Crenshaw, CASA advocate for Brian, Sky, and Jordan. Just reiterating what CPS has done. Brian is doing really well in his placement in New Mexico. His familial placement, Mr. Morgan Petty has been able to secure programming at his school to help him get on track to be able to graduate, which is outstanding. And he's been involved in extracurriculars such as martial arts and choir. And he's just doing really well, like with his daily chores, things that he was having issues with at the RTC. So I'm very happy and pleased. And so is Brian to be in that placement. Sky and Jordan continue to do well in their current placement with the Pettys. School is doing well. Sky is a A+ student. Jordan even tested out of having to have speech therapy. He's doing very, very well. They've got extracurriculars such as, soccer, cheer, theater, and youth groups have become a really big part of their lives as well. They definitely consider this placement home. Jordan, while he did not state directly to me, but he has made comments that have been reported to me by the Pettys that he just never wants to leave, and he's very happy there. And Sky is really just thriving. So CASA feels it would be in the best interest of the children for the parental rights to be terminated and for them to remain in their current placements, with the department being listed as PMC and ultimately relative adoption.
Mr. Nisenblatt, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor, no question.
Ms. Scott, do you?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Carter?
No, Your Honor.
Um, Mr. Nisenblatt, do you have any other testimony to present?
No, Your Honor.
Um, You may make any closing argument if you wish.
Well, Your Honor, I believe the department has shown that these poor children have suffered through several instances of where the department has to have become involved in their lives due to the drug use with the parents. The parents continue to actually just not care enough to engage in services and correct those behaviors. We believe that right now we have stable, loving placements for these children to provide them a forever safe home. I think there's been plenty of opportunity to correct behaviors that haven't been, no effort has been made to change their lifestyle or correct their actions. I believe it's in the best interest of these children that their parental rights be terminated so these children can have a safe, loving environment in which to grow up.
Okay, Ms. Scott, would you like to make any closing argument? And in doing so, you may read any statement by Mr. Haynes, but the court has to be clear that it cannot be considered in evidence.
I'm not, there's no statement written that I would read, but I believe I do have a right to make a statement on behalf of Mr. Haynes, and that's just that he, hello?
Okay, yeah.
Was there an objection?
You may continue.
Okay. Mr. Haynes loves his children and he knows that they're in good places. He is familiar with the homes of both of these placements and he thinks that the children will do well and thrive there. He did not complete his service plan for whatever reason, but he doesn't want the court to think in any way that he doesn't love these children and doesn't want the best for them.
Ms. Carter, do you have any closing argument or a statement or report?
I'll just keep it brief, Your Honor. It's a little report. These kids have been in and out of CPS care for years. This is the second time I've served as attorney ad litem for these kids. And for the first time, they are finally, in 2 different stable homes. And those homes and those placements are able to address their each individual need, which is certainly a blessing. And that's not always the case in these sorts of cases. So it is certainly in the best interest of these kids that rights are terminated to the parents and that Mr. Morgan Petty's allowed to adopt Brian III, and the Dr. Perry and his wife are permitted to adopt Jordan and Sky Haynes.
Okay. The court finds that the statutory prerequisites to a termination of both parents' parental rights to all 3 kids have been met. It is in the best interest of the children that the parental rights be terminated, and they are hereby terminated. The department is named as permanent managing conservator, and the current placements are approved. Thank you. This will conclude the hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck.